coming either.
Didn't say anything to me.
No.
You can go back to your seat.
Oh, you leaving?
Yeah. Take care.
All right.
Hey.
Here's your answer.
He's just parking. He couldn't find one. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna like grab a wing on.
Call to order the City Council regular session, September 18th, 2023 at 6 p.m. City Municipal Building, 101 North Main Street, Adams, Wisconsin. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brooke, take roll call.
Mayor Plum,
Here.
Chief Woolen,
Here.
Street Superintendent Kirstenlohr,
Here.
Alderperson Cantu is excused, Alderperson Grooms,
Here.
Buchanan,
Here.
Murphy,
Here.
Scott.
Here.
I need a motion to approve or correct the minutes for the meeting, the regular session held August 21st, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular session held on August 21st, 2023.
I'll second it.
Questions and concerns? Brooke?
Alderperson Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. Petitions and communications, citizen comment.
I didn't want to see her. And we did not hear from her, so.
Okay, so we didn't see her. Okay. All right, moving on. Report of standing committees. Planning Commission. There was an approval in the Planning Commission. There was an approval to a minor subdivision change. We started a raising process on a property, and we are working on having regular scheduled meetings to discuss topics in a timely manner, and we're working on a focus, the focus of a strategic plan for our city. Okay, moving on to policy and procedure.
Yes, policy and procedure, we met on August 31st, 2023. Our biggest issue there, or policy we're trying to tackle, was the Burt Morris bequeath policy. We have since met again and have final draft put together for the policy committee to review. We also, we're looking to hopefully have that, is that correct, Brooke, the first reading September 18th? Trying to, or no, it's
No.
never mind, that's today, sorry.
Probably not till the third meeting.
Third meeting.
Third week in October.
October, sure, sorry. We've also, we've decided as the committee to tackle the long list of policies and leave it up to the committee members to kind of prioritize what they see needs to be done, with also input on that. And also developing an investment policy as well, both with the Burt Morris and just investing in general with the city. And so we are also looking to meet on a recurring basis, like just to kind of tackle the long list of policies and procedures.
Thank you. Public Works?
Yeah, Public Works met on September 12th. And We went over wastewater treatment facility purchases for our power supply and work to the south lift station. Then we went over the PSE simplification rate, which was just in finance, and then approved the 10% finance to go to council for sewer rate. Then we looked over the splash pad MOU with the county, and believe that needs work. And then talked about the Ann Street reconstruction, west storage tank repairs, stump removal, looking for bids, and discussed preventive maintenance program, which we do not have at this time. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Finance Committee?
Finance, yeah, so we have basically talked about paying for all the things that these guys talked about.
Yes.
So that's the big part of that. We also met with Ellers about investment opportunities for Burt Morris. And how we're going to move forward with them in that. Let's see here. We continue to make progress on the budget. And we are facing increases in health insurance costs, wages, that sort of thing. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. The fire district will put on to next meeting because he's not here tonight. Report of city officers, mayor. I've been learning more and more about the RPN. There's a survey that's going to be coming for people to take about questions for the downtown area, both the city and the village. Okay, the weather's starting to change. I hope you are all ready for it. Okay. Police department update.
For August, we had 185 calls for service, 44 traffic warnings, 23 traffic citations, 21 municipal citations, 1 DNR citation, and 3 crashes. We participated in the National Night Out at the fairgrounds. We were able to go over and pick up the Milo system and complete the training for that, and brought that back. I've also submitted to the state for the $7,000 reimbursement for that purchase. Something I guess I'll either have to talk to the mayor or finance about is that we did have one of our NDCs, the computers in the squads, that the hard drive crashed on. So I'll have to look at a replacement for that. I've got 2 bids, so we're looking at around $3,800.
Thank you. Public Works update.
Well, we started sewer jetting last week. That's to clean out the entire sewer system. They jet, we do that every year to keep things free and clear, flowing downhill. Leaf pickup is tentatively scheduled to start October 16th with the leaf vac. I implore everybody to read their newsletter so they understand why we may or may not pick up a pile of leaves. If we can't reach it, if there's sticks and debris in it, rocks. We get a lot of animal waste in there. We won't pick that up. It just causes for hazards when we're using the leaf vac truck. We cannot go down alleyways. It's not as nimble as one thinks, as well as swinging that arm out and being able to reach in between cars or next to light poles or stuff like that. So we ask you to read your newsletter. It kind of helps us and put that stuff where we can reach it. The process, as is every year, we go out on Monday mornings, we make one entire lap through the city, and then we put it away the rest of the week. So if you see us out there and we've buried your house and you quick rake your leaves out, we won't pick them up until the next Monday morning. So that's just the process we have to do so we can get other things done. Remember, you can always rake stuff and put it in the brown bags. We will collect that as long as it's not stick and debris and sand. It's gotta be yard waste and compostable. We don't take the leaf bag down alleys. And we will be going to roughly November 20th, weather permitting, would be the last week out for that, or till, if it snows before then. We're going to be doing a bunch of inlet cleaning. As everybody knows, we don't have a sweeper, so the amount of sand has built up in our curb and gutters and inlets, so we're gonna try to clean some of those out before winter comes and avoid some freeze-up issues. And hopefully get some patching done in these warm days before it turns cold. Any questions?
Thank you. Clerk Treasurer, update?
We got the EMC insurance premium audit is complete for the general liability and the work comp from 7/1 of last year to 7/1 of this year. We will owe additional premium of approximately $1,500 apiece for workers' comp and general liability. We received the EMC insurance payment for the lift station on Vega Street, which the net check was $10,640, which was less our deductible of $2,500. The grand total of the revenues and expenses since last finance meeting met, revenues was just shy of $240,000, which included Adams County Housing Authority pilot payment of just under $14,000. The August 2023 tax settlement came in at $206,302. Regular quarterly franchise fee, the reimbursement from the Village of Friendship for their third of the landfill monitoring, and then we have received all approved bids for excess public works, and they've been paid for, so that totals the $747. Some expenses, doesn't include all of them, were just over $425,000. We cut the check for the roof project. We made a progress billing for Ron's refrigeration for the HVAC, normal payroll, and transmittals from payroll, WRS for retirement, health insurance, the sludge hauling, there was some meter testing, insurance, and the typical quarterly Lifestar payment. That's what I got.
Thank you. Okay, going into general business. Okay. Presentation only, RPN Improvement Downtown Subcommittee. You're up.
Well, I'll just start it out really quick. So the Rural Partners Network is something that our county applied for. It's a federal program. And we have a community liaison, Laura West Krautchik. I'm going to let her explain what the program involves and the different subcommittees that are part of our own local Rural Partners Network. And the committee that we're here representing today is improving downtown. And if you need anything, I can interject. And then followed by that, Jerry is going to speak. He's from Wisconsin Economic Development. He will speak about a specific program that we want to inquire with the council about participation in for our improving downtown subcommittee. And I do have these, Laura, if you want me to pass those out.
Rural Partners Network was started about a year ago. It is an all-of-government initiative, and it includes 10 states, of which Wisconsin is one of them. And in Wisconsin, there are only 13 counties enrolled in this Rural Partners Network. There are actually only 5 networks, so some of them have multiple counties. Adams County Visionary Community Network is the official title for Adams County Network, and it only includes Adams County for the most part. This is a community-led initiative. So what that means is community liaisons like myself work with these communities to understand what their goals are, what challenges they face to meet their goals, This could be anything from addressing infrastructure to trying to build, say, a library, to bring in different initiatives into their downtown, which this is kind of one of those examples. It's a broad-reaching initiative to try to address the needs of rural communities in the way that rural communities are saying, we know what we need. Sometimes those needs are first rooted in capacity building, so it isn't always coming in and saying, oh, well, apply for this, and this will help with whatever your needs or your initiatives are. Sometimes it's working on some capacity building, maybe looking for a grant writer, maybe talking about strategic planning. So it's a very broad initiative to try to build up that community, and sometimes several communities within a county. In Adams County, the group has been meeting on almost a monthly basis for about a year. Initially, they were trying to determine what their signature project was going to be. That signature project is to address housing needs within Adams County. While the county was trying to determine, or the stakeholders really were trying to determine what that signature project was going to be, a survey was sent out to kind of take, what's the majority vote for what the signature project should be. So again, this is community-led. From that survey, there was a lot of interest in several areas. So those areas became like subcommittees or working groups. Those working groups are not only to address housing, but another one is to work on downtown improvement. There's a workforce expansion initiative, one to address broadband, and then another to look at the railroad situation here. It's not exclusive of just those. Other things might come up, say transportation or other infrastructure. So it's not restricted to just those topics, but right now that's what the communities are trying to address and those subcommittees. So the subcommittee that we're talking about today is the downtown improvement. We've only had a few meetings because that subcommittee was established in about June, and the first meeting, all of the subcommittees first met in July. So they've been meeting on a regular basis to determine what area they want to focus on first. So it's probably a good time to turn it over to talk about what those initiatives are, because I think you had mentioned a survey coming out, and then Jerry had mentioned some programs that might work well with what those next steps are. So I don't know if there are questions about RPN in general, but that's the broad overview of what that is. And then I'll let these two talk about the specifics of what they want to try to accomplish.
I would just say, first of all, we're happy that we have the city and the village both participating in our subcommittee. We're starting small, and we just kind of have a few representatives from the city, the village. We have one area of business, we have Jerry, we have Laura, and some other individuals that are serving on our group. And what we decided to do right off the bat is we wanted to get the city and village involved because we want your input in order to decide what is the downtown to be, both Adams and Friendship. So what we started out with is our first project really is to do this survey, as the mayor has reported on. And we hope to launch that, I think we said it was the 29th?
By the 29th,
I think.
correct.
So it will go out, notice will go out in the water bills. We want this to be a widespread survey. We want everybody's input in our county, including even seasonal residents. We want the businesses and residents to tell us what is it that you want to see in our area here. So that's something that to be looking for. That's how we're planning to gain input and help inform us on making future decisions about the area. Jerry is here because related to that, there is a program through Wisconsin Economic Development that would tie in really well with this, our plans going forward.
And I'll explain that. Everyone, first of all, I apologize that I was late. I literally had it in my phone and I showed Tammy, kept taking me back to the other village hall. And I'm like, this isn't right. So my apologies for that.
And Gary, I should say, I have like 5 of these only, I didn't know if you had any
Oh,
or not. but
I
have
don't
about
have
5.
with tonight.
Maybe you could,
So the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, I know we've worked with almost every community and organization through the area here. I know we've sat in on the RPN networks together and discussed different topics and different programming. So as part of this outreach, when we talked about the downtown development, Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation looks at that through the Office of Rural Prosperity and says, this is a great opportunity to do some placemaking initiatives and try and develop a downtown that's conducive to bringing more workforce to the area. Because at the end of the day, that's our role for the state of Wisconsin is, how do we develop an increased workforce in every community across the state? And Adams and Friendship, individually and together, are no different from that. So when I started to sit in, when Tammy actually wrangled me to sit in on her subcommittee group here and participate in the downtown, we did bring up a lot of different discussions. Two of the first items that came up for business from my perspective were, number one, I grew up in a small town that was 2 communities side by side, Sauk City and Prairie du Sac area. So they're side by side, divided by 1 street, and they're not always in alignment with each other when it comes to strategic planning, when it comes to decision making on police, fire, school, etc. So I know that can be a challenge. We came up and met first with the Friendship Village group and had this conversation with them to introduce the survey work that I think is going to be very important to both communities, and to expand a little bit on what Tammy said, it's going out regionally. So it's going out well beyond the borders of Adams and Friendship. It's going out into the deeper parts of the county, because we look at Adams Friendship together as kind of a community hub. People come into town for their services, they come into town for their fuels and foods and different things. So how to develop the downtown is something that Wisconsin Economic Development does really well. And I've only got a couple of these, so.
You can give us some council.
Man? Okay, very good. A little bit of information on it. We have a program called the Connect Communities Program, which is a fee for service, of course, everything is with Wisconsin Economic Development. But it's a program that allows a community to sign in and make an application twice a year for a program that allows for our strategic planning specialists to assist the city in their strategic planning. 4 different seminars on community development and downtown planning and downtown development. Our resources, as far as seminars that are held all across the state, the example I think I used in Friendship was, we currently have one coming up in Appleton, where community members can come around and do a lighting tour to look at how Appleton has lit their downtown areas for safety, for security, but also to enhance their historic properties and to make the downtown area congruent and comfortable for everybody to come and look at. So we actually have those groups together, and as a participating member, our Connect Communities can send X number of representatives, I believe it's up to 6, to be a part of that group in training as well. So it is a way to access some of our fundamental services as economic development agents, and would help align the downtown in this planning process. The other aspect is how to pay for that. We only accept funding through a community organization or a taxable entity. Now, a taxable entity can mean a not-for-profit or non-tax, it just has to have its own tax code. So the subcommittee as a group is not a legal entity. It is a subcommittee designed to just advise. To become part of the Connect Communities program, they would need the city as a pass-through to allow them to do that and sign off on it. That's why I'm here to kind of just present the information and get you started looking at it. The fee per year is $200. What we have proposed to Friendship is they could pay part of that and Adams could pay part of that. Or they could pay for the program and bring you under their wing as part of the design development of downtown, or the vice versa. We could have Adams make the application for the Connect Communities program and bring Friendship under your wing so that it is all part of one large group. The goal here is to create alignment in the development process for the 2 communities together, while always recognizing that they have their own attributes that they're proud of and are going to want to highlight as well. We're not trying to make a homogeneous community that's just one. But when it comes to historic street lighting, when it comes to transportation directives and how we're going to develop transportation systems across the county, all of these come into play and affect the communities jointly as they do individually. Does that make sense as they lay it out that way for the programming? Some of the numbers that are specific to the Connect Communities and Main Street programs. We also have access to funding, and we will help facilitate groups in bringing in independent funds. By that I mean, of the communities we have currently, there's 140 across the state of Wisconsin that participate in this group. Of those population under 5,000, 39 communities are participating that have between 250 and 5,000 individuals. The average net new business openings is 1.3 per year. The average net jobs added is somewhere between 0 and 13%. We're not sure just how, it's hard depending on where you lie in your population. We can help leverage average private investment of up to $492,000 and average public investment of $491,000. And by public investment, it does not necessarily mean coming out of your tax base or budget. That may mean public investment that we can assist in bringing public funding, public grants, and public lending opportunities to the community that would help match funds to make projects move forward. So if there was development cost as part of a strategic plan to design certain elements of downtown, we can help go after those funds and participate in grant writing for that and the program for that. Does that make sense? So I think the proposal here before us today is nothing more than, if you have an opportunity to read through some of the information that we've given, and I'm going to give you some more information before I leave here as well, so that if they would decide to go forward with this, we might be able to get your participation there. Okay? Any questions?
I think I would add, though, Jerry, too, is, if you want to give some examples of some of the communities that do participate in this, Town of Rome is one example. They are one of these communities, and we look at the types of growth that's there. Sure, a lot of it could be attributed to Sand Valley, but there is considerable growth there. I think Boston is maybe another one.
Boston is another one. Some of these are a little bit
There's
larger.
the scary ones, yeah.
Right. Some of them are a little bit larger as you go through, but through Marathon City, Little Chute, Lannon, a lot of these are communities of size between 1,700 and 5,000, which lays right in your population group. We have a list here, just as an example. I can pick through it, and these are requests that have been made to WEC by our Connect communities. So for Little Chute, they want to develop a pedestrian mall. We're going to head up a team that will actually go down there, walk their community over a weekend, and give them some visions on what that might look like. Where's your pedestrian traffic? How do you keep them safe? Where do you house them in an emergency? What's the flow of traffic for people that are walking? Where are the benches? Marathon City, attracting single-family residential development to rural communities. So we can extend that to the housing initiatives that have also come forward. Rhinelander is looking for a sidewalk plan or beautification project, simple things like that where we can participate. So we also have programs that are not active right now, but are seasonal and will come back around. One of them is the Vibrant Spaces granting. So if you have a small community structure that wants to put up a small veterans memorial, or you want to do a little parklet where you have a couple bench seats and you have chairs, some lighting in there, you can also apply for our funding for that in the grant application process, and we'll actually come out and help you write that application. As far as the process of going through that, or the difficulty of writing the application for the Connect communities, we've already sent Tammy an application, and she's already agreed to go through that process if you should decide to move forward and do that. And I will come up and I'll help her do that as well. So we make the process very easy.
Jerry, you want to talk about the deadlines for those two, just so they know?
There are two. One is October 13th, and the other is 6 months following. I haven't taken the time to look at the calendar and see what that is. April's, yeah, whatever it falls on. It might not be the 13th, but in October and April. So the urgency at their end is, as we're moving forward with this survey work to become a Connect Communities, moving into the new year would be very helpful. It'll help set that planning in motion.
And maybe Leanne and.
Chair of Finance, right?
I don't know if Leanne and Brooke have anything to add since you serve on that group as well.
I don't have anything to add.
Wasn't expecting to talk, so I didn't prepare anything.
Well, that's okay. You know, I mentioned this before in another meeting, one of the neatest things about Adams, when I come up here and I do work, and I sit on the Child Care Alliance meetings, I sit in on the transportation group meetings, I've been assisting Laura with the RPN, I'm part of the downtown group meetings as well, is the level of leadership and the level of volunteerism that I see out there. I'm in the room right now and I've got 3 individuals out of the team that are in some form of one of these groups. That's huge. You don't see that kind of participation in other areas. I think that's one of the reasons this would be so helpful. With that kind of support, it helps bring more support to the individuals that are doing that work, the volunteer work. And everyone, I understand, is stretched so thin right now because they're sitting on 2 and 3 committees. So if we can help ease that burden a little bit, that's what we're there for. Okay? No further questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll something to think about.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Moving.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on. Number 2, discussion related to the siren at the city municipal building.
Do we have something to look at for that?
So I
It's all me?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. When the siren isn't working, and people have asked about it and things like that, but it's not in a good location from where, so it's kind of like, what are we gonna do with it? If we don't fix it, we're gonna have to take it down, but we're gonna have to take it down anyway to do the fixing.
It should not stay there. The part of the building that it's on is becoming detached from the garage. That old hose tower, where it sits, that whole thing needs to be tore off of the building anyways, so it shouldn't be taken down, put back up there,
So we have to think.
for
about-
location
What-
wise.
Relocating it, not putting it back up, what are we going to do
We're gonna
next?
take it down here in the roof repair.
I tried to get him to do that, but
Two power lines.
there's a power pole and
Oh.
transformer right
Got
there
it.
and power lines and, yeah.
Once it's down, what kind of repairs does it need, do we know? We have no idea till we bring it down.
We don't know if it's up there or if it's something down here.
Statutorily, we're not required to have one.
That's my question was, are we required to have a siren?
No, but sometimes it comes in handy if you don't have your cell phone or something and you hear the siren, that you know that you need to think about what you're doing.
I'll put it like this.
I can hear friendships.
How many years has it been down for?
Just this past year, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
No.
I don't know, when did the police department disable it?
Very good point.
I think it was 3.
2020.
It's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
I moved 2 years ago.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, if we haven't missed it in 2 years, potentially we should consider not having one.
We can, residents can sign up for Nixle, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's gonna be an expense to the city to get it down, get it fixed, and then where to go with it, because we just got a brand new roof, now do you wanna go attach it, put holes in your brand new roof?
I think we're talking about just getting
I,
rid of it
for one,
altogether.
don't want it here.
Yeah,
It sounds to me like there's 2 options, right? We can get rid of it or get a new one, because probably this old one, by the time you start talking about fixing it and everything else, you start approaching the cost of a new siren, right?
And then you have the other, like, that was connected to the dispatch center, so you got, so that they could set off the tones too. So I don't know what would be involved in reestablishing that connection. And like I said, we haven't had any work done on it or anybody look into it. So all like I said is I don't know if it's something down here in the the panorama or if it's something upstairs.
Yeah, I've tried to find a file on it to get any information I can on it. I haven't been able to find anything.
And how old is that, Sarah?
Oh,
Ancient.
So I'm assuming.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Can't remember a time before that.
Right, yeah, truly. We don't need it, dispatch doesn't need it either for anything, I mean, even though they were patched into it, there's no legal reason we have to keep it.
We're not obligated to have it.
Okay.
There's a lot of communities, obviously, that choose not to have the sirens.
Okay, do pretty much all municipalities have one?
Friendship still has one.
Yeah,
Friendships
I
has
hear
one.
there.
But I imagine, same thing, that they would be put in that position should something happen to that one, of whether they're going to repair it or replace it or discontinue that.
How many
I haven't
citizens
had any
complained that
conversation
it wasn't
about it.
going off anymore?
I got one.
We have,
I know
over
one
the last
people
couple of
didn't know
years,
it.
the office has fielded.
I have the same
I
gentleman who
can't-
calls me monthly.
It's not an absorbent amount, you're not getting
No.
multiple people.
No, it's
the
not like an
same
everyday.
Same couple individuals. I'm moved to dismantle it.
Well, let's,
For
We
safety
can bring it back
reasons.
around.
let's bring it around, let's bring it
Sure.
around next meeting, and we'll make some decisions as to what you guys want to do. All right?
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Discussion, possible action, kennel at license application.
Am I understanding that this has been paid already?
Yes, they pay it when they apply. When they apply for it, so then it,
So, I have a problem with that because back in July, we denied a kennel license.
ordinance says that that they're approved by council.
Right.
So, yep, we took it, and if it was not, then we would reimburse them.
Okay, because we denied one for 3 dogs, just like this gentleman
This is for it.
Yes, we did.
before. And so, I can't, me personally, I voted against the last one, I'm voting against this one as well. Just because that's what our policy states, no more than 2 dogs. Chief, I don't know, I mean, I understand the last application, there were some issues with that residence. I don't know if this one is in the same category or.
Yeah, and like we discussed last time, I just feel like that the city just needs to establish more of a process in this if we're gonna consider this. But then, again, back to what is the overall philosophy that the city wants to adopt? Is it gonna be that this is I would say a loophole in our own ordinance, or is this gonna be that, for legitimate reasons or specific circumstances? Again, using my lot, I guess, my property as an example, again, I have 5.5 acres where I'm at in the city limits. Me asking for a kennel license versus somebody who's in the heart of the city asking to have 4 dogs is probably gonna be, it should be looked at as differently. And again, that's just my opinion, but.
I do believe the kennel license is on our policy list, correctly?
Yes, it is.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, it's on
Since
our.
July.
I'm curious about the fee. What's the fee for 1 dog?
Well, this is in addition to all,
I'm just curious about how much 1 dog costs.
the regular licensing fee is, depends on if it's a late fee or not. $10 and $15, or $15 and $20.
Okay, if this is something that, it just seems like, it's crazy that 35 seems extremely low. Not that, I don't know.
For my 1 dog, he's, because there's also a breakdown between if they're fixed or spayed or neutered.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, so there's criteria for,
Mhm.
okay.
this
So
is, I only pay that late fee if I'm after April 1st, but I pay whether he's spayed or neutered.
Mhm.
Is a kennel fee on top of a fee for each dog?
Yes. Yes. So they've paid to license these 3 animals.
You license the animals individually.
Right, I
License-
understand
your kennel
that.
license
That's
is
not
for
what
the
I'm
property
asking.
itself.
What I'm asking is straight, the
Per dog.
kennel license on top of that is only $35.
Reminder that the city ordinance also requires the licensing of cats, not just dogs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
And current ordinance allows up to 8 cats.
That's a lot of cats.
Sounds like some, yeah,
Okay.
I'll save it.
Anyways. So, town policy, yeah, policy list right there. No more than 2 dogs or no more than 8 cats on any residence zone without prior approval from council, common council.
Yes, that's approval.
Make a motion to vote on it?
You can?
Move to vote on it? The acceptance of the license?
Yeah. You can do that.
To accept or deny.
You say
Oh,
accepting.
No, to deny. Definitely.
Yes.
Second?
All in favor?
No, I need a second.
I'll second that motion to deny the application.
Any concerns?
To me, we already have laws that address noise complaints. We already have laws that address animals running at large. So, and if there would happen to be a problem with this license, we can just not approve it the next time it comes up. So, absent any reason to not approve it, it would be my inclination to approve it. So,
Okay,
I would not agree with your motion.
okay, so let's vote.
The motion is to deny.
To
So,
deny.
Alderpersons Buchanan,
Aye.
Murphy,
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Grooms,
No?
Mayor.
I'm going to say that it's okay. I'm going to go with those guys. And then if any problem comes up, then okay. Moving to number 4, discussion possible action, raising quote for 333 South Watt Street. This came from finance, and they said that they were agreed with the quote that was given. So we need to vote on it to get the job done.
Make a motion, we accept the quote for
Were there-
14,000.
Were there multiple quotes?
We got one
We
quote.
got one quote.
So I,
Did we
I
look
contacted
for?
2 and only 1 submitted. We don't have to go out in a bid process for this.
Okay.
Why not? I'm just
That's
curious.
curious, yeah, I
Yeah,
was-
because
Yes.
I thought anything over a certain dollar amount you had to.
I would have to ask Rebecca, she was the one saying that we don't have to go out.
I was just curious why, because I'm just understanding what we do and don't, because I do for
Right.
everything.
It's a Rebecca question. It's through this process. She was the one in explaining it to me that we don't have to go out for bid.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've got a motion.
so then I'm gonna continue with my motion. To accept the bid for raising 333 South Watts for $14,953.
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion? Brooke?
Alderperson Murphy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
Item number 6, discussion possible action, Personnel Policy Manual.
We're skipping
No.
Oh,
five.
sorry. Discussion of possible action, introduce and adopt resolution 2023-14, raising building.
This is for planning, planning moved to finance the continuation of the process of 551 West Liberty Street. This is the start, the resolution needs to go through, it will be signed, then the original documentation will be given to the attorney, and because the property owner does not live in the city, a certified letter will be sent to them. It will start the 60-day process.
60 days starts from when they get the letter or when we vote?
I believe it would be the day that they sign that they got it. Because normally that's when Sam delivered, like with 333 South Watts, it was the day they were served the paperwork.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2023-14R.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions?
What are the multiple bids for this one too?
No, this is just the start of it.
Oh, okay.
This is just because.
Well, it says Primo Construction. We have.
They were the one that had to analyze and assess the property if it was repairable. And so because they have stated that it's going to cost more to make it habitable than the property is worth, then we can start the raise process.
Still should have had multiple bids done from.
There were two in, did I not put, you're seeing,
Unless I'm just missing it.
there were two, I went with the first one that, in date order had gone and done it, because only one person is listed on here as having inspected it. But it was the consensus of two.
But that's good.
Okay, so that motion in a second.
Seconded.
Okay, Brooke?
Alderperson Scott,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Okay. Number 6, discussion possible action, personnel policy manual, public works boot allowance. Okay, I need a motion to either accept it or reject it. It's going $75 to $150.
Move to accept the 75 to 150 for the boot allowance for the Public Works Department.
I'll second.
Questions, concerns?
Just to clarify, that starts 2024.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Brooke, go ahead.
Alderperson Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, item number 7, discussion and possible action, Ellers Investment Advisory Agreement. This one is for, George, this one for,
This one's for investing.
okay,
Yeah, just
It's
investment.
the investment agreement
Okay.
for the Burtmoss funds.
okay. So I need a motion?
What majority of the funds are
That is to be determined yet.
to be determined?
Right.
Thank you.
This is This is the relationship agreement. We have not yet decided because of the policy issues.
Okay, that was my
Right.
next question.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what policy.
When we do it, it'll be with these guys. We don't know how much yet.
Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion that we go with Ehlers Investment Advisory Agreement.
I will second.
any other questions? Brooke?
Alderperson Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Grooms.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 6 was tabled in finance, so we'll move on.
8.
Or 8, sorry. Yeah, but it was tabled in finance, so we'll move on. 9, because Mr. Cantu is not here, that we're gonna take, and we're gonna need to reassign this one to the next meeting. Okay,
So if we're gonna, for table, we need that motion.
okay. So
I'll make a motion to table the proposed 2024 Adams County Fire District budget until our next council meeting.
Okay,
I'll
thanks.
second.
Okay. Brooke?
Alderperson Murphy,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
10, discussion and possible action, Public Works, the the water, public power supply, B&M Tech.
Too many previous folks.
Go back.
I think
10,
10 had a
right? 10.
separate,
Oh.
separate attachment. Sorry, I can't put them all on
Yeah.
one.
No,
Get
no.
it.
Well, thanks for the clarification.
So this went through Public Works, this went through Finance.
What was the price? I'll make the motion.
$3,464.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second. I'll second the motion for the wastewater treatment facility power supply from BMN Tech.
Alderperson Scott,
Yes.
Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
I found it.
Number 11, discussion possible action for Public Works, South Lift Station, B&M Tech.
Okay, and this is the 10,640, right?
Yes. Yes.
12, okay.
Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry. No,
Yep,
you're-
next page.
You're right. 12,670, that the 10,640 will be used to offset the cost of.
So I'll make that motion, and we approve the South Lift Station to B&M Tech for $12,670.
I'll second.
Okay. Question? Okay, Brooke?
Alderperson Grooms,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, item 12, discussion possible action, Public Works, the PSC simplified rate case. Has to do with the water, it has to do with the water bills. It's gonna go up what percentage?
I don't know what percentage the PSCO recommend, but they have changed. It used to be a standard 3%, last year was a standard 4.5%. And because of inflation, their standard rate has increased to 8%, but it could be anything. That's what they will approve up to, and then once I make that application, they'll come back with, yes, we've looked at all your financials, here's what we're approving, and then the finance and council can decide what they want to do at that time.
So I need a motion that we're gonna go with the PSC simplified rate case.
Yeah, this is just to apply.
Yeah, just to apply, yeah.
Just do apply,
Move to apply for the SRC.
okay. PSC,
PSC, I'm sorry.
simplified rate case. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, questions? Brooke?
Alderperson Buchanan,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Grooms.
Yes.
Okay, item 13, discussion and possible action, Public Works, PSC conventional rate case.
Jason, I'm sorry, what did you say the difference between the simplified and the conventional was?
So simplified is, I put in just a brief, quick, it's basically your standard yearly bump due to inflation. There's no audit of your system, They just look at your past revenues. Like, they have access to all our revenues, they have access to our expenses. So they kind of quick look at those, like they can look at them even for this year. So they just quick evaluate that, and I'll tell you, right now they're evaluating that we're operating at about a $1,200 loss. So that's what they kind of base it off. The conventional is a complete audit of the system. That goes through wages, that goes through infrastructure. You know, they look at the age of the pipe in the ground. They look at any upcoming projects, hence the filtration project is included in that. So they look to the future in that as well for the conventional. It's about a 6-month process, back and forth with the PSC and the financial.
There are also items on our fee schedule that cannot be changed unless we go through a conventional rate case.
Yeah, simplified is just your base rate and fire protection, I believe, that get changed.
And we're, same thing, we're just applying.
We're hiring Ellers to assist us in that application process.
I will make a motion that we hire Ellers to assist us with the PSC conventional rate case.
A second.
Question? Brooke?
Alderperson Murphy?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Grooms?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Number 14, discussion and possible action, this Public Works sewer rate.
So finance sent to council a recommendation for a 10% rate increase for sewer. And that, of course, is based on, you know, a mix of inflation and just anticipated expenses with an aging system. We had all those years where we didn't raise rates and we're behind, you know. We're barely, I want to say we ran the sewer at a positive $2,500 or something like that last year.
Yeah, it was just roughly, that was what was estimated per our budgeting process, that we were going to be a net positive of a few $1,000s.
Yeah, so we're just, we have absolutely no room with a much smaller increase to maintain our facilities, in my opinion. So that was the purpose of the 10% recommendation.
So what's your motion?
The PSC does
Just
not.
explain.
The PSC does not. I don't remember if you stated this, but the PSC does not govern our sewer.
Right. And so,
Where do we get the 10% from?
So basically, that went through Public Works.
I know.
Public Works sent it to Finance, Finance sent it here.
Right,
So-
but from the information that was given, Public Works.
So back in 2019, there was a study done by MSA that shows that the standard increase in sewer rates since 1996 have been 4.8% year over year. The city had several rate increases in there, which was in the handouts. That was at Public Works and here in Finance. And we went 11 years with 0 rate increase. So last year was a 10%, the year before was a 10%, and then this year is a 10%. That is based off of that information, and then also us operating at barely a break even with our aging infrastructure of 20 years old at our treatment plant and needing to try to gain revenue so we can maintain the things we have. There will be, as discussed, a follow-up on a more in-depth study to see where the exact number we should be at, but we're using our revenue and expenses difference to kind of base off where we're trying to get to. We'll be working on that facility development plan on the wastewater treatment plant and the infrastructure for the wastewater, the lift stations as well. And that'll tell us the projects that we're gonna need, the costs that we're going to incur, and if our rates and revenue will cover those costs. Yeah, it's not fun raising 10%, 10%, 10%, but when you neglect it for 11 years, you've exponentially fallen behind.
We did have increases in 2015 and 2017.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
You know, there's things we know, right? We know what it cost us to run it last year, for example. We know what inflation is. We know approximately what our just normal maintenance is going to be. And so if we don't raise our rates by at least 4.5%, we're not gonna be able to cover just what we're doing. But the problem is, we have such an aged system right now. And we know we are behind on, I mean, pick a project. Everything in that sewer plant is past its expected service life. So in order to facilitate the facility.
How do we know everything's past its prime? I mean,
Jason.
we don't have a PM system to monitor how that system is set up to know that that equipment is truly past its prime.
Sure.
So the amount of expenses that we've incurred for breakdowns in the last 2 years, every engineer that I spoke to, every contractor that's come in, asked how old it is. 20 years old. Oh yeah, it needs to be replaced. That's how we know it's past its prime. We've been told by engineers, we've been told by manufacturers, we've been told by contractors.
Engineers and contractors are out to make money. We don't have a.
So the fact that it's not working anymore, it's broke, it's not working, it's not replaceable. We've looked into these things.
For the past few years. that I've
Either
been-
way, if they're not being replaced, they need to be fixed.
Definitely, I'm not.
And we don't have the money to even do that. I mean, that's where
Properly
the
funded
increase
capital
is coming from.
Which they're just not properly funded right now.
Mhm.
So that's where we are.
So how do we know a true budget if we have no way to properly have a history on our equipment?
But we can't tell the future, right?
It's called predictive maintenance.
That's what
Yeah,
I've
you
been
can.
trying to explain to you, where we are.
Predictive maintenance, you can predict how long, the longevity of a piece of equipment.
Right, and right now, we have a sewer plant with a 20-year lifespan that's 23 years old.
Okay,
So what you're saying, Justin, Jason, is that we had a 10%